You're good.
I don't want to be in it.
Alright, we did do 7 yesterday. We're not going to get done today. We'll stop at 20 or 21. Alright. The Eighth Amendment is the Chinese food amendment and the purple shirt amendment. Chinese food. In the Constitution, does it say anything about being able to eat Chinese food? No, but you can. And it doesn't say anything about wearing a purple shirt, but you can. The Eighth Amendment is the Other Rights Amendment. There are other rights that are not in the Constitution that you have. They don't list them all. One of the beauties of the Constitution is they wrote it in a way where it can apply in the future. They didn't get specific and hamstring themselves to where, but it can apply to future times because they were very vague with some of it. The Ninth Amendment is, no, I lied. The Ninth Amendment is the other rights. The Eighth Amendment is the cruel and unusual punishment.
Makes sense. That's what we're right after due process.
Yeah, cruel and unusual punishment. The punishment has to fit the crime. You can't cut the girl's head off because she had a little girl.
Or she knows what you was to us.
What?
So or she knows what you was to us.
Yes.
It's having wish.
Now the 10th Amendment is complicated but simple.
That doesn't make sense.
Did I tell you what my best friend Lane said about girls?
No.
That's my best friend Lane in the white sweatshirt there. He said, "Wow, girls are different. They look different. They act different. They think different. They even smell different. They're just different." And he's one of the wisest men I've ever. Chrissy doesn't understand boys. And I'm like, oh, did this mess up? I think the camera's messed up. I can't see though. Okay. I'll try that. Oh, the 10th Amendment is the Reserved Powers Amendment. It reserves the powers for the states. There's 2 lists. There's one list in the Constitution that tells the federal government what it can do. Brooklyn, you can write in blue pen. Y'all can't write in red. So what can y'all write in?
Black.
Black. You need green, pink, anything but blue or red. Okay? Federal government can write in blue pen. This is where you get to write in federal government. You get to write in blue pen. There's a list that tells the states what it can't do. States can't have an army. States can't negotiate with foreign countries. Army. If it's not on these 2 lists, then the states have power over it. This limits the government. When you tell someone, here's the things you can do, that limits it more than telling them what they can't do. So the federal government is limited to this. States can't do this. Anything else, states have power over it. So this is another example of the federal government. This has works in the future, because anything that comes up, the local governments have control over. If you have a driver's license, where did it come from? If you have a driver's license?
Oh, the state.
State of Texas. Hunting licenses, fishing licenses, marriage licenses. We used to have a marriage license. Summer, did you ever go in the old house across the street? Share your listen.
Hey, Summer.
Did you ever go in the old house over there?
Christie's?
Yeah.
Like Christie and Doug's?
No, like
Oh, your old house? Where was it?
across the street. It was right across the street. Yeah. We used to have the marriage license was right across from the bathroom. She'd walk out the bathroom, there it was on the wall, just so she'd remember. And then our new house, she wanted things done. I guess the hip thing is like do little splash. Like you don't hang a picture up, you put a group of things up. Is that what the new style is? Like they have pictures surround like little clumps of things. So she wanted that. So I put a bunch of pictures of us and little signs, and because I do the decorating. And she said, I want to redo this, and I want some things taken down. And so she took the marriage license down, and I said, so you're just gonna get rid of that? She goes, no, I don't want to get rid of it. I just don't want to have it up. So she wanted the marriage license up to remember anything. But does that make sense? The reserve powers, okay. The 11th Amendment has to do with states suing states. States suing states. When a state sues a state, it's usually over water. Like the states downriver. If all the water's getting used up before it gets to them, they sue because they want to have some water too. Usually that's what it is. Where would that court case be held? If a state's suing a state?
In the federal court.
Federal courts. That's what it says. If a state is going to sue another state, it will be held in federal court. The 12th Amendment has to do with the vice president. This is early 1800s, like 1800 to 1803, somewhere in there. For the first 3 presidential elections, we had the second place person became the vice president. If you're mature and responsible, what's good about that? If you're mature and responsible. Because it's somebody that has a different viewpoint than this one. So if they're mature and responsible, they can sit down and come up with the best solution. But that's not the way it worked. So now the president is to pick the vice president instead of the second place person getting it. If it wasn't real life, I would love to see a Biden-Trump presidency. If it was a movie, I think that would be fantastic. But it being real life, that would be horrific. Or a Trump, or better than that, a Trump-Clinton presidency would be amazing. That would be awesome.
Or a Trump with Reagan. A Trump and Reagan.
Yeah, but he would listen to Reagan.
Yeah.
He'd listen to Reagan.
I'm so pissed that Biden won.
It's just how it goes.
Yep. He's got 2 more years of it.
13th, 14th, 15th. These are the Civil War amendments. And old Lorenzo, rolling his benzo, had a great answer today. I was so happy. I asked when the Civil War was. And you can tell me. Do y'all know when the Civil War was? That was the War of 1812, 1860s. I'm just happy you didn't say 1940s, because usually I have, what war was in the 1940s? It was Civil War. Oh my gosh. These amendments were put in the 1860s into the 70s. Okay.
She's taking a quiz, not right now.
Okay.
She has.
All right, I can help. The first thing that had to be done after the Civil War was in the Constitution was what? What we have to do?
Free slaves.
Free the slaves and abolish slavery. What's the next step? Free
Human rights.
citizenship. This amendment, it wasn't just giving slave citizenship. It spells out what it takes to be a citizen, who is a citizen. When Titan was born, no matter what, when a baby's born, where are they? They're by mama. They're always by, so wherever mama is, that's where the baby's born. Even though Christy was on a trip when Titan was born and we were in Canada, what would Titan be?
Canadian.
He'd be a Canadian citizen. Would he be an American citizen?
Yes.
Because me and him, me and her are American citizens.
My best friend who's exactly that.
Dual citizen. Ted Cruz, one of our Texas senators, is a dual citizen. He has dark hair and his last name ends in a Z. You know what?
From South America.
Canada. He was, one of his parents is Canadian and one of his parents is from somewhere in the middle, like I think he was born like in Virginia, somewhere in the middle of the country. But I remember hearing them talk about him being dual citizen. I'm like, oh yeah, what's that? And he said Canadian. I was like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense at all. Barack Obama, there's a lot of controversy. People say he's not a citizen. He's not a citizen. He's born in Hawaii. And I think what they meant was, and I don't know when he was born. If he was born in 1958, Hawaii wasn't a state yet. But it was a U.S. territory. So it was American citizen. And then people were saying, well, he was born in Africa. His dad was an African. They went to Africa. He was born in Africa. So if he's born in Africa, let's say he's born in Africa. His mom was from Kansas, which is the absolute middle of the United States. So no matter what, he's an American citizen. So anybody born in America is an American citizen. You may have any problems with that. There are people who make money getting people, women from other countries into the country. I think it's mainly in California. Setting them up in an apartment. They have their baby in that apartment in California, and then they go back. But now their kid's an American citizen, and he or she has access to stuff. So they're scamming the system. Is that the kid's fault? No. And could we ever say, well, if you're born in America, could we put stipulations on that of who could? We really could.
Done, but on
Right, I couldn't just say, I mean, that's just a problem we have to deal with. And the last one. What do you think the last one is?
They can vote.
Voting rights. As long as you're not a girl. Not yet. So, during Reconstruction, there were multiple African American congressmen elected from southern states. And after Reconstruction, because during Reconstruction, the federal government was in charge of the South. They sent people down there to run it. And then when they left, the locals took over and they took care of that. There was no more African Americans elected, and they weren't able to vote for 100 years. Even though it was on paper, they saw to it that didn't happen. The next amendment wasn't until the 19 teens, 1915, somewhere in there. income tax. Before this, it was illegal for the government to tax individuals. They made their money off of tariffs mainly. But this helped them, and the government didn't do much. They didn't need much money. I think it was a 2% tax on the richest Americans. Today, I'm gonna show you in January how ridiculous our tax system is. You get punished for doing good. If you make too much, the more you make, the bigger percentage is taken. Not just the more amount, but the bigger percentage is taken. And I'm really worried this year I'm gonna lose money because I got a raise. And I hope it didn't put me in a higher tax bracket, which means they take more taxes out, which means I could make less thanks to the raise. That's just not right. Everybody should get taxed the same percentage. If you make $100 a year, you should pay the same percent as somebody makes $1 million a year.
You may now post attendance.
It hits you in the gut the same.
Thank you.
Like, if we had a 10% tax, if you're a billionaire, you pay 10%. If you're a hundredaire, you pay 10%. And everyone's treated the same. But now it's, if you're a hundredaire, you pay 0. If you're a billionaire, you pay 39%. The highest tax rate we ever had in the 60s, I think the millionaires had to pay a 90% tax, income tax. Now that's only income. If you make money off of investments, like if you're retired, you don't have income, you pay 15% on that. So you could, and we have loopholes and stuff in there. So that was 16. The 17th Amendment is cylinders. This is also the 19 teens. Before this, the state legislatures picked the senators. So we'd elect them, and they would appoint the senators. After this, we get to elect. We vote for the senators directly. Now. 18th Amendment. Yeah. 18th Amendment is prohibition. It prohibited the sale, distribution, manufacturing of alcohol.
Age right now.
What's that?
Age right now. And few
They meant good with it. Because if alcohol never existed, there would be less wives beat. There'd be, some families would be better off. Most people would go to work on time. They were trying to eliminate the problems the abuse of alcohol caused. The problem is the cat was out of the bag. And it created Al Capone, created gangsters, and people were dying. And they were making the poison, basically. And people were dying from that. So the 21st Amendment repealed the 18th. So it did away with it. Does anybody know the 19th Amendment? Girls, 19th Amendment?
Voting.
Women's right to vote. They call it suffrage, not suffrage, but suffrage. Women's vote. There were, in Wyoming, women could vote since the 1800s, but this made it across the board where women got the vote. I think we got done. The other class took longer, so I guess you got some time.
20.
We're gonna do that tomorrow. I'm saving for tomorrow. That's a good one. It's a fun one.
No, we have the test tomorrow?
No, we don't. We're not doing it. We're doing it Friday.
Oh, sweet.
I was hoping we could get all the notes today. I'm just studying tonight.
You don't have to study. It's a quiz.
Yeah, it was my mom. My mom. We already did that one.
Yeah. Like I feel like he knows he's not. With all the grades. Yeah, and like the grades.
This last period took longer.
See what it is.
Well, I think my sister's gonna be in